What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. It's that time of the week once again for the weekly challenges to go ahead and refresh. In terms of this week, it is the best reward possible, the 6-star free car reward ticket. On top of that, this is a relatively short week, so it's maximum amount of prizes in the shortest amount of time, which is always quite nice. Of course, next week I'm sure it'll be changed up quite slightly with the new physics as well as the new update in a week's time on Thursday. Let's head into July week 3 though. We have 6 days remaining of this because of course it's there for the week. In terms of the events themselves, we have the first event as the Japanese 4-wheel drive challenge 600. This one takes place at Fisherman's Ranch, so we're getting some dirt racing action in to begin with. Then we have the Schwarzwald League over at the high speed ring reverse. Then we move into the new special event for the week. This is a returning one. It's the second time we've seen it for the Alpine A110 2017, this time over at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. I do genuinely really enjoy that one make. I think it's a solid one make car race to have. Then we move over to Blue Moon Speedway, which is going to be on the infield A reverse layout with the Nissan GTR Cup, one of the more recent additions to the game. And then we finish off with a WTC 900 over at Autopolis International Racing Course. I'm pretty sure that's a repeat one that was only shown a few weeks ago, so it really hasn't been long since we've seen that in as a final event. In terms of rewards, we've got a 6-star roulette ticket parts ticket. For 3 events it's going to be 150k, and for all 5 events as mentioned it's the 6-star roulette ticket car ticket. So let's get into it. We're going to start off at Fisherman's Ranch with the Japanese 4-wheel drive challenge 600, getting some dirt rally action in. In terms of this event, it's a 1-lap sprint format, of course for Japanese cars around the 600 pp limit, mainly road cars, so there is no set Group B cars for this one. However, I did go for a Group B road version of the Lancer Evolution 10. In terms of the event itself, it is relatively quite easy. However, it does suffer from that issue of being a very early Gran Turismo event, which means that a lot of the grid is massively spread out. So you're going to find yourself just picking off one car, then the next, then you might have a couple of vehicles just up ahead. It's really not too difficult. However, with the actual course of Fisherman's Ranch being quite tight in sections, I recommend just trying to time it properly to get that clean race bonus. So just try and tackle the course itself as the longest rally course in the game. There is a few awkward sections. It's mainly made even more awkward to get the clean race bonus just due to the location of some of the jumps and some of the wonky dirt physics in GT7. The main part you want to watch out for is this sort of like back straight section, I like to call it. Of course it's not entirely straight, but it does feature a pretty awkward jump in the middle between a very quick left right section. Land it wrong there, you can slap that barrier and you can probably kiss your entire race goodbye. In terms of the rest of the race though, you need to watch out for this final section. Just before you start heading downhill, it can get quite tight there, and then you should be able to get yourself up and across the line no problem. That is going to give us tick number 1 of the week. Of course, we did keep the clean race bonus for this one, 45,000 credits. In terms of the next reward as well, it's going to reward us with a 6-star roulette ticket parts ticket for completing one single event. So not a bad start so far for a couple of minutes work. Let's move on to another relatively short event, this time the Schwarzwald League over at high speed ring reverse. One of the latest additions to the game. It came in as a showcase for the Audi R8 V10 Plus. In terms of the event itself, in all honesty, because of the layout of the high speed ring, you just need to pick something that can go fast. Don't worry about the corners and such like that. As long as you can keep up on the straights, the majority of the AI is easily beatable, no matter what difficulty you pick. So the event itself is of course just for German cars only, around about 700 pp. There is a limit cap on this one, it's not just a recommendation, so do be aware of that you cannot go ahead and go above that. So in terms of cars that I'd recommend, I feel like any of the AMGs are pretty solid picks. They are very, very good in a straight line. It's the exact same with the Audi V10 Plus as well. That thing is an absolute rocket, and the event itself was pretty much made to showcase that vehicle. So those are some solid picks For me, I went for the AMG Vision Gran Turismo. It's a relatively solid car, it's not too bad through the corners, but does have the benefit of a relatively high top speed. Even better if you do manage to get that slip. And that's where I'd recommend doing the majority of your overtakes for this event. I wouldn't worry too much through the, relatively short and brief tighter sections or more twisty sections. As soon as you exit those corners, you want to get your foot to the floor, get in the slipstream and start picking off those cars one by one, and you should get this done with relative ease. Now, in terms of the AI themselves, the main one you do want to watch is that Audi. Of course, if this event does actually showcase that car and was made for that car, it does typically have a pretty sizable gap over the rest of the field, and it will have no issues outrunning them either. So just keep your eye on that car. As long as you're getting towards it towards the latter stages of this race, you should be able to pick it off pretty much anywhere, get it slipstream and get that move done, and you should have this event in the bag, no problem at all. Of course, we don't need to worry about the likes of weather, it's not turned on for this event, so just go for absolute pure speed here. Once you've got this one done and dusted, that is going to give you tick number 2 for the week. In terms of the payout, it's actually not too bad here. 97,500 credits for around about 5 minutes of your time. Next up, we have the special event for this week. This is the returning Alpine A110 2017 one make race. One of my personal favourites. I really enjoyed it over at Catalonia last time. This time we're heading to the United Kingdom and Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. In my honest opinion, when it comes to one make vehicles, the Alpine is absolutely spot on for it. In terms of the AI though, it once again suffers from the issue that they look like they have upgrades on them, but they are relatively slow. It's a relatively small grid as well, so you should be able to pick these off no problem, and you'll probably actually take the lead very early on in the race. Even if you've got a few slight upgrades like I have it to my A110 here, you will probably be picking these off in no time. For some reason, they just didn't choose to put the actual upgrades in terms of the performance of this car. It's mainly just for looks and aero when it comes to what you're seeing on the AI. So you don't have to worry about them too much. You'll probably get this one done very easily. And for me, that is the only downside of this event. It was just made too easy by Polyphony. Again, I'd have liked it if they had some of the weight reduction stuck onto these vehicles. Maybe a little kick of extra horsepower just to make them a bit more competitive. If not, and you do want a bit of competition, just go for a brand new A110, no upgrades whatsoever, and you'll probably have a decent enough time. For me, I've just got a few brake upgrades, I've got a bit of weight reduction to the vehicle, and honestly it just made the event far too easy. As you can see, we've only just entered lap 2 and already we're starting to pick him off before we get into the sort of mid-section and the cut-off between the Indy and the GP circuit. So again, you're probably going to get it done with relative ease. Again, once you cross that line though, it's going to be tick number 3 for the week, and that is going to be rewarding us with 150,000 credits on top of what is a pretty decent payout for this event. So there we go. In terms of the payout, 127,500 credits with the clean race bonus. Not too bad if you want a bit of a different money maker. We're also going to get our daily, which was a 4-star roulette. Again, one of the weakest tickets in the game in my opinion, but we do take away that 150k. So, special event done and dusted for this week. Let's head over to event number 4. This is the Nissan GTR Cup. This time it's going to be over at Blue Moon Speedway in Field A, which is a relatively high speed track. Now, of course, this does allow for every single generation of GTR, so just pick your favourite and go have a blast. In terms of the event itself, I went for an R34. This one again is running pretty much no aero to slow it down. It's all built for straight line speed, even does have the nitrous, but I'm not going to use that. It's just basically there for show, or if I want to do a bit of drag racing. In terms of the cars itself and what you're up against, you just want to be aware of some of the R35s as well as some of the R32 Nismos. They do seem relatively quick around here. Again, in terms of the layout itself, it's very fast. A lot of your overtaking will probably be done in the quicker sections. However, there is a few places you can make up a ton of time if you do want to go down the sort of grippier route, which personally I didn't. This is mainly in the underpass section, you'll sort of come across a bit of a, tunnel section. Just get your overtakes done there. A lot of the AI very, very inconsistent through that section. Again, if you can get your overtakes done there as well as on the big high speed straight before you hit the banking, then to be honest, you'll get this one done with no problem whatsoever. So again, because we're not worrying about tyre life, fuel or anything like that, you just want to go for a full sprint kind of race. In terms of AI though, it does suffer from a typical Gran Turismo 7 problem of the AI being massively sort of bunched up in the middle, and then all of a sudden you've got huge gaps to start ploughing through to be able to start getting those final few overtakes done. Especially the lead of the R35, which was leading for me, was long gone by the time I managed to get to it. So again, as long as you can beat that car, you should be absolutely fine. I managed to pull out a massive gap in the end of 23 seconds, but just be aware that there is a big spread amongst the AI. That is going to give us tick number 4 of the week and 70,000 credits. For some reason I didn't get the clean race bonus. I must have clipped a car on the way through. Finally though, we do have the WTC 900 at Autopolis International Racing Course. Now I'm pretty sure we've had this one quite recently, and it's a pretty poor event. There is no denying that. Again, it has potential to be fantastic, but in terms of the payout and in terms of the length, it's just done and dusted in absolutely no time. So of course there's a 900 pp limit in place, and I do recommend going as close to that as possible. For some reason here at this Autopolis event, there is a massive spread between you and the actual top of the field. It's a huge gap for some reason, and again with cars bunching up and trafficking up in the tighter sections, it can take a fair while to actually get there. The car I'm using here I believe sits at like 890 odd pp, so again I'm very close to that 900 limit, and it still took me a decent amount of time to actually get through. Again, in terms of something like a Group 1 car, you won't be worrying too much about fuel and tyres. I went for racing mediums. These were happy to last way into the later stages of the event. Same with fuel. In terms of the actual weather though, you do want to be keeping an eye on that almost straight away. There is a chance it can rain here, and for me the majority of it was sat at the bottom of the weather radar, and whilst it did threaten to come in, it did quite quickly move away. But just be aware that wet weather can play a part in this race, and to be honest, it does make it much more fun when it happens. I went for a pit stop after running fuel mix 1 and my mediums at the end of lap 7. This was the perfect time to get a fresh set of mediums on the car, get a little bit of fuel in, do a splash and dash, and just get myself gone. In terms of the AI, they will pit into the later stages of the race. They will typically start pitting at the end of lap 6, lap 7, around that area. However, there does seem to be a bug with the actual leading cars. So the leaders for me did box in at the end of lap 8. Now this is going to allow me to start making those moves up that I lost during my early pit stop, and then begin to get myself into the lead. As you can see, I do manage to beat the GTR just out the pits, take the lead, job done. Now again, a lap later, all of a sudden the entire bunch of AI just wanted to pit in again, even the ones that have pitted on lap 8. So not sure what went on there, not sure why they have to pit off the hards all of a sudden. They've got enough fuel realistically to get to the end, but they do seem quite bugged. So don't worry about them too much. Whilst they're relatively quick, they do appear to have a bit of a bugged pit stop currently. That's tick number 5 for the week. 150k for this event. It takes around about 16 to 17 minutes. It's just not worth it at all. However, what does make it worth it is that 6-star roulette ticket, car ticket. With that being said, let's go ahead and open up our prizes. First up on the list is of course going to be our daily marathon. This was a 4-star. I do find that these are just absolutely terrible tickets to get, and whilst we do get teased with the Group 4 Jag, that is just not going to happen. Of course we're going to take away 10,000 credits, almost not worth logging in for the day if it was a sort of off reward day. Next up we're going to add the 150k to the account. That is for completing 3 events. For one event we're going to open up the parts ticket. Now there is the possibility of getting something quite decent here. The majority of it is just literal trash for cars that you don't want. However, the weight reduction stage 5, which we are going to get here, is a fairly fantastic reward. It's rated as 500,000 credits worth, and it's for the Ferrari F8 Tributo. Not going to complain about that one for free. Next up we do have the final reward, which is the free 6-star car ticket. A few decent cars here, you know, the Chiron, the Mazda, but we are going to end up with the Bugatti VGT Group 1. Not a bad reward, to be totally honest. It costs 1,000,000 credits, so that's 1,000,000 credits saved. Massive thank you to all of my channel members. If you do want to join, feel free, it does help out the channel between uploads. And a massive thank you to you guys tuning in to watch this video. Again, apologies if my commentary is a little bit off still. I'm still trying to recover from COVID. It's just taking me a little while for some reason, but I am on the mend. So hopefully things do pick up and I should be able to bring you daily uploads again pretty soon. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day or night wherever you may be, and have a great weekend. Take care guys, peace.